Hey everybody, and welcome back to 30 Teams in 30 Days here on Behind the Score Sports. Wow, we're down to the last 5 teams. We're now entering the AL East, and they were even that much closer. And I hope the nice weather is bringing a spring into your step, because it is for me. And I can't wait to get this started next week. Next Thursday is going to be a big day. Just a couple of things to let you know about. On my Facebook page at Behind the Score Sports, I'm at Behind the Score Sports on all my apps that I'm on: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. But anyways, on the 27th, on Saturday, I'm going to be doing my baseball fantasy pool drafts. So you can catch me on there doing a live on my Facebook page. Then on opening day on April 1st, the Jays and Yankees play at 1. I'm doing a live on my Facebook page during the game. And then I'm also going to be doing a live during the 7 p.m. game that's going to be on. But that one's going to be on YouTube. So come and check it out. Like, follow, share, subscribe. It's all 100% free, and the bigger it goes, the more opportunities I can have to bring you other content that I'd like to do, such as interviewing players and getting just to use more material and get some sponsorships to make this even bigger than it is now. So, anyways, we're going to get started. As you know, the first team in the division I talk about is always the one I find winning the division. That'll be the Yankees this year. So, we'll jump into the 2021 lineup predictions. Leading off, I have Aaron Hicks. Uh, he's a switch hitter, batting 275 with a 361 on base. This guy is a amazing fielder. A young guy. He's had some injury issues there last year, but I see him bouncing way back in a big way this year, and hopefully can have a great season there. He also does have some speed, so hopefully that'll come in handy for the Yankees at the top of the lineup. Next will be Gleyber Torres, right-hander, batting 307 and 359. This is another guy that hits well, gets on base. Great young guy for this team. He's played very well since he came up into the league. He's done very well for the organization. They enjoy him playing there, and he does well in the big market. Next will be the big guy. All rise for Aaron Judge, right fielder, batting right with 280 and a 379. Like some of the other Yankees on this team, he's had his injury issues. He's looking to bounce back in a big way and prove that he can put in a full season and be able to be the star that everybody knows he is in New York. Next would be the guy that came back, kind of a long off season, but finally made his way back to the Yankees, which is DJ LeMahieu. He's going to be a big star again this year. Plays very well. He's bats right with a 298 and a 345 on base for his career. He can hit. He's played very well since going to the Yankees, and definitely with that new contract, he's sitting pretty well there too. Next will be a big wild card when it comes to the Yankees, and that's Giancarlo Stanton. Giancarlo will be the designated hitter, batting right, 281 with a 370. This guy has been Mr. Injury, especially for the Yankees over the last few seasons since going there. Um, One of the big sore spots when it comes to his contract. He's been in a bad way when it comes to production, and to be able to move that contract, you're literally having to give up great prospects and whatever in order to move that contract. I don't see the Yankees doing that. This is going to end up being one of those that they're going to have to wait it out, or at least get quite a few more years off of it, and then throw some money towards it and some prospects to dump him off somewhere else. But if he doesn't come back in a big way this year, stay healthy and stay in the game, uh, this will be one the Yankees fans and Brian Cashman will be wanting to forget for a very long time. Everybody was on Derek Jeter when he took over the Marlins. How could you get rid of Stanton? He was the biggest player down there. He was the star. Uh, he had flack for a very long time for that. But as it looks now, it looks like the Marlins are the ones that actually came out on the upside of that deal, squeaking into the expanded playoffs last year, and definitely wiping their hands of some big money that was inherited, and looking very good for it. Next will be Luke Voigt. He bats right 288 with 354. A lot of these guys can hit well. He has lots of power. They've got tons of power in this lineup. Luke Voigt lost quite a bit of weight. Seeing him there last season, I almost didn't even recognize who he was. I thought he was just some young prospect that came up until they said Luke Voigt, and that was one thing that really surprised me. But he's done well. He's slimmed down. He's working out hard, playing hard, and it's really paying off for him. So won't be surprised to see him go yard quite a few times this season. Next would be Gio Urshela. Gio is the bats right with 308, 353. The one great thing about this Yankees lineup is these guys can be moved anywhere, up or down the lineup. I'm at number 7, and we're still talking about guys that could be slotted at the top. That's a great problem to have as a manager. No matter where you put guys, they should be able to produce. So it's very difficult to get the guys that the at bats that they need, especially when they're hitting well. But there's always got to be those guys that are lower in the order, but they are the ones to set up the rally and get the lineup turned over to the big guys at the top again. Number 8 might be a surprise to some, but I have Clint Frazier getting the spot in left field, batting right, 222 with a 297 on base. His averages and numbers aren't that well. This guy has been trying hard in the Yankees organization for quite a few years now. Hasn't been able to crack the lineup. There was lots of talk of trades over the last couple seasons, trying to find him a spot where he could play. None of those came to fruition, but now he's got a chance of cracking the lineup. But he's going to have to perform well. You've also got guys like Brett Gardner and whatever that are coming, that are either on the bench or some other guys coming up that could very easily take over his spot if things don't work out. So that'll be a thing to watch there. He's definitely going to have some pressure, but you finally got your shot, so do what you can with it. Batting ninth will be the one guy that's last but not least would be Gary Sanchez catching, batting right, 250 with a 305. he has struggled a lot over the last couple seasons, especially last year, actually losing his starting spot partway through the year and into the playoffs. Was very unhappy about that. It seemed as though the game and being in a big market was really getting to his head at a ton of pass balls. This is one thing he's going to have to clean up this season. You only get so many chances to turn it around, and I think this will be a big time for him to finally step up to the plate and show what he's got. We've seen in recent seasons that he does have the power and does have the capability, but I do think being in that bigger market and the media on you all the time and getting even more scrutinized uh, really doesn't play well on some guys. But hopefully he can pull it together and maybe even move himself up the lineup if he gets the power back and can contribute in a big way there. So, utility guys, possibilities. I have Mike Ford, Tyler Wade, Mike Toshman, Brett Gardner, and Taro Estrada. So we'll go to the pitching rotation. Star-studded, big contract man. There, the number one, the ace, Jared Cole. Looking to have a big way there in New York again. I think they were beyond disappointed with where they got last year. They definitely feel that they should be World Series or bust for sure. So this year they'll be looking to grind and get those wins early and often. Next would be Corey Kluber. Coming over, definitely a great veteran presence for this team. This team is definitely feeling the effects of not having Luis Severino. It could kind of hamper them early on in the season, but I do see them still topping it out at the end. They got Jamison Talon from Pittsburgh. They got the young guy in Jordan Montgomery. D.V. Garcia, I have in fifth. Luis Severino will be in sixth. I have him as the sixth spot because he will be back partway through the season, but so right now I have him as the sixth starter. And Domingo German, this is an iffy one, a question mark for me. As everybody knows, he had his off-season issues there. And I do believe it was Ottavino that had some dust up with him and wasn't too happy with the situation going on there. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But hopefully they can, or it's either Ottavino or Zach Britton, one or the other. They did have some issues there. Came out in the media. That kind of stuff usually is held on for the locker room and kept within the organization, but some heated comments got started there and was quickly diffused by Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman. It is believed that they've had some talks within the organization and trying to settle things down there, but it'll be interesting as the season unfolds what happens. Whether some people will be having to move on or whether they can settle their differences. Other storylines happening for the Yankees. Severino to be back in July as of right now, barring any setbacks there. So he should be somewhere around the halfway mark of the season. So hopefully he can come back and be in a big way for the Yankees. They definitely will need it heading into the stretch and for the playoffs as well. Can Clint Frazier finally clinch his spot on the Yankees? I have him clinching in the opening here. Like I said, he's going to have to be a person to prove himself. There's going to be some guys that definitely could take over if he doesn't. Brett Gardner's a great guy, not only in the on the field but in the clubhouse as well. Great veteran presence, uh, and he still has it with the bat and in the field. Struggling a little bit more at the bat, but definitely later on in your career, those things happen. But definitely his presence around the team is a big one, and he definitely could fill in there if Clint Frazier can't make it. What can we expect from Gary Sanchez? He's the other big question mark on this team. Will he be able to stand up to the pressure? Will he be able to bounce back to the guy he was a few seasons ago? That all remains to be seen. Really, if there isn't a big change, I don't see the Yankees and Gary having a mutual interest in staying together there, but then he might find his way to a smaller market. But hopefully he can bounce back. They definitely need him to. He's definitely a big part of that team. So yeah, he's definitely going to have his work cut out for him. Can Stanton return to farm and be an expensive tag along? Like I had mentioned earlier, uh, Stanton with his injuries, this is either going to be a big expensive bust for the Yankees, or this might be one of the biggest comebacks there is. There's not much really going for Stanton. Hopefully he can getting back into his home run form and at least be able to stay on the field. But there's a lot of question marks for this team. I do see them taking the division, but to go all the way, they're definitely going to have to shore up some things and hope for some big comebacks this season. Players to watch be Jason Dominguez, outfielder number 1. He could be a guy that comes up, gets some playing time. Clint Frazier can't make it. Clark Schmidt, right-handed pitcher, number 2. D.V. Garcia, that I mentioned for the pitching rotation. He's right-handed pitcher, number 3. Oswald Peraza, shortstop, number 4. And Austin Wells, catcher, number 5. Austin Wells will be one to watch too. Gary Sanchez starts to struggle. They decide to move on. Austin Wells could very well get some playing time there. So we'll have to, everything remains to be seen. But for right now, I think the Yankees are pretty much set with where they're ready to go. So thank you again for watching. It's been another great episode of Behind the Score Sports for 30 teams in 30 days. And just remember, it's not always what happens in the game, it's also what goes on behind the score. And don't forget to join me on Facebook and YouTube and join in and give your opinions and let's grow this to be a very great sports community. Thanks for watching.